What's going on, everybody? We are back. 2024 Biloxi Boat Show. We are Brownwater Banter Podcast. We will be your hosts today. We have 3 seminars going on. We have one at 11, we have one at 3, and we have one at 5. These guys that we have up here are going to be a wealth full of knowledge. So pay attention. There's going to be some good stuff up here. All right. So first of all, we got Captain Bill on stage. Captain Bill, thanks for hanging out with us. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us who you're with?
Yeah, I'm real Outlaw Charters, Captain Wild Bill. Here on the Gulf Coast, I fish everywhere from the Louisiana line to the Alabama line, all the barrier islands. I grew up here. I've been here forever. And I just want to say welcome. Thanks so much for Brownwater Banter and the Boat Show for asking us back again this year. So we're excited.
Absolutely. And looking in front of us, it looks like we're going to talk a little fly fishing. Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to talk fly fishing. So fly fishing is just a cool thing. Fly fishing to conventional fishing is like bow hunting is to hunting.
Right.
Where it's a very stealthy, it's kind of a one-on-one deal. We don't like to leave a footprint in the water. We're all about conservation. We hit all the boxes. We like check. We like catch and release. We're about education, knowledge. We're all about the species and the environment we're in. And it's just a really cool way to be out on the water.
Right. I mean, I guess most people around here, when they think of fly fishing, they think up north, rivers and streams and stuff like that. Explain to us open water fly fishing.
Yeah, so it's much the same. And instead of fishing in a small little tight river or a creek, you're fishing in open water, most likely longer cast. Because of our species, we got heavier gear. We're fishing for bigger fish, and we catch anything you can catch conventionally, you can catch on a fly rod. Now, I'm not talking about snapper and amberjack and all that. I'm talking about speckled trout, redfish, flounder, white trout, jack crevalle, redfish, whiting, and all those sort of things. And there's several, believe it or not, there's several clubs on the Mississippi coast, and one of the largest clubs on the whole Gulf of Mexico, from Brownsville to Miami, Florida, is Horsefly. Horsefly is a historic Ocean Springs fly fishing club that started in the 60s. And we're a fly fishing international club.
Right.
We're a 501c3. We give a scholarship every year. We have members from, we have free memberships for full-time students and full-time military. We have a presentation every month. We meet monthly at the Ocean Springs Yacht Club on the 3rd Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock. And it's just, we have people that don't even fly fish there. But fly fishing is pretty cool. It's I started it about 10 years ago. And how I got started, I had a customer that called me one day, wanted to charter, and he said, fly fishing. I want to go fly fishing. I'm like, fly fishing?
Yeah, how are we going to do that?
Yeah, I'm like, well, man, I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about. He said, well, you know where the fish are? I'm like, yeah, that's my job. And he said, well, I got all the stuff.
Okay.
And so, and the gentleman was from Florida. We've become long-term friends. And I just saw it, and I'm like, this is something I need to know how to do. And
had you done any kind of freshwater stuff before that at all?
I mean, I fish for bass. I fish for
I mean fly fishing. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely zero.
So you were a rookie as well.
I was like, most everybody else. And I said, I started looking around online, and I found this club, and I'm like, it said open to the public. I'm like, well, I'm pretty public, and I'm pretty open. So I showed up one day, and they said, man, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm here to learn about fly fishing. They said, well, come on, sit down. So they started talking to me about all these little bugs they were building and flies and all these lines and reels. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And it's just a wealth of knowledge these people, right, these individuals have, and they're so willing to share. So I just developed a knack for it. I tie my own flies. I sell flies to all over. I ship them. And I just enjoy it. It's just a part of my charter. So I offer fly fishing as well as conventional fishing. And it's just something about going out to our barrier islands, getting out of the boat, getting in the water, spotting a redfish, throwing a fly out there that you tied, and he takes it, and you catch it, you look at the fish, take a picture, turn him loose, and say, "We'll see you later."
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just cool.
Oh, absolutely. Skill level starting out. Do you recommend if somebody wants to jump on a fly charter, do you recommend getting a little practice before they go, or how does that work?
Yeah, so fly fishing is kind of like hunting. Most fly fishermen, they have their own gear. The fly rods, you pick out what's comfortable for you. They bring their own stuff. I have stuff, but most of the time they bring their own stuff. And it's not really I've never done it before, I want to go. You kind of need to have a little,
right.
The first thing I'll do when I put them on the boat, if I talk to them a little bit, I can kind of feel out what they're doing. But if I haven't talked to them, I like to see them make a couple of casts. So I know what I'm working with. I know what their skill level is. So I know, okay, I need to be 30 feet from a fish, or maybe I need to be 60 feet from a fish. Can they cast in a wind? Can they not cast in a wind? So it's just kind of feeling out what your guests can do.
Right.
And then put in where the fish are.
I was gonna say I've never done saltwater fly fishing, but I've done like in the creeks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it is a ton of fun. To me, it's a little more like what I would say active fishing, right? Different than just casting a pole out there. And I guess you could be jigging. That's active
right.
too. But this is a continual movement, a continual trying to put the bait in a specific spot, right? And find the fish or find that location. It's a lot of fun.
That's exactly right. And it's not casting a cork out there and waiting for the fish to take it down while you take a drink and eat a peanut butter jelly sandwich. We're not doing that.
Yeah, you working, huh?
Yeah, but it's and the other thing is you're not actually casting the fly. You're casting the line.
That's right.
Right.
And the fly lays as a result of you casting the line. And
when you're skilled at it, it goes right where you want it. Doesn't make a lot of ruckus on the top of the water.
The fish, they don't even know you're there.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool. Our estuary has 1,500 species of fish. 1,500 species of fish. Yeah. We have the most prolific estuary on the whole Gulf of Mexico. We've got the back bays, we've got the rivers, we've got the coast, we've got the reefs, we've got the beaches, we've got the islands. I mean, we have something for everybody.
Right.
And so fly fishing is just another way to enjoy what God's given us.
Right. On these trips, I know a lot of people are familiar with the fly fishing with the push poles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are you running trolling mode or are you running push pole? How do you get these guys on the fish? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't use a push pole. I'm fishing out of a 24-foot bay boat. From say June, and there's nothing much better than catching a triple tail on fly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, a triple tail is like a big brim on steroids. He's a monster. He's a prehistoric looking fish. He's got stickers out of him. He's got big teeth.
Conveniently enough, he tastes really good too.
Yeah, and I mean, you put them on some butter. Just don't even go. That's a whole different show. But you see a triple tail out there, 30, 40 feet away. You get your guy all ready. You get your fly ready, and you creep up on this guy, and you're looking at him. You say, okay, you need to make that cast right here, and they'll make a couple of casts. We'll move that fly around, and this fly is like a little crab. It's not like throwing a cork, in a big chunk of mullet or a shrimp, and this fly comes by, and that fish turns around and sees it and says, "Oh, that's a snack. I gotta have it."
He gone.
It's like walking by a bag of potato chips.
It's on there. It's on there. Yeah, like Lay's, you just can't have one.
Yeah, you got to try it.
And so triple tail fishing is cool. When our big bull reds and our Jack Crevalle run up and down the beach, I mean, I caught a 38-inch Jack Crevalle on a fly rod last year, which is pretty cool. Took about an hour to get that dude.
I bet. Because correct me if I'm wrong though. Do the saltwater fly rods have drag, or you are the drag?
They do.
Okay.
So you do reel them like for freshwater. I was just kind of pulling it in,
Yeah, well, when you're catching a brookie trout or a 10 or 12-inch trout, you can just hand line it in.
Right.
It's not a problem.
Right.
But these guys get on drag. I mean, we go out. Last year, I had a guest that had a 5-foot tarpon on.
Wow.
We got the tarpon to the boat.
That's not an easy fish to land on a regular setup.
I mean, we got this. It was incredible, and we got the fish to the boat. And we're not going to gaff the fish. We're not going to handle the fish. we're all respectful and we got the hook out and the fish. Yeah, we just turned it loose. We're conservationists by heart. And so it's just so cool. We have pompano here. Pompano
delicious as well.
And it doesn't take a lot of skill if you can locate them. It doesn't take a lot of skill to catch pompano, redfish, sheep's head. In our club, one of the tournaments we have is a species. I think last year we had 12, maybe 16 members that caught over 46 different species of fish. That's a lot of different fish.
That is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the average trout guy goes out there and he catches a flounder and he catches a trout and he catches a redfish. He'll catch a croaker and, of course, he'll catch a hardhead, maybe a ground mutter, 7 or 8, 9 species. These guys are catching 30 and 40 species. I mean, we got people that travel to Argentina, Brazil. They're catching peacock bass. They're catching marlin. They're catching brim. They're catching brown trout. They're catching rainbow trout. So within our little group, we've got people that can talk about all these things.
Yeah, and I guess those meetings, y'all get together and share gear, share fish stories, what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Is it like a monthly meeting y'all do? How does that work?
Right. We have a monthly meeting every third Tuesday at 6 o'clock at the Ocean Springs Yacht Club. And we have been having them with the Mary C. We're in with the Mary C. Cultural Center. We have fly tying sessions. We rely on the DMR, Gulf Coast Research Lab, Mississippi State. We've had chefs from restaurants come in and tell us the proper way to clean a fish, proper way to cook a fish.
Probably the most important thing.
Yeah, that's the end result.
Right. That's what we're here for.
So it's just, it's just another way to enjoy the sport.
Right. I see you got a box of flies right here.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's seasonal, just like everything else. When the shrimp change color, crab change color, you change the color of the fly, correct?
Yeah. This is a fly that a friend of mine, Tom Dempsey, ties called the Terminator. I mean, the redfish just love all this flash. A gold spoon has been historically great for redfish, so that's similar to it. We got the purple and blacks. We got shrimp patterns. We got big flies for redfish. We got small flies for trout.
Now you're tying these yourself, creating them yourself?
I tie them all.
Okay. Yeah, like again, going from the freshwater side of things, these are obviously a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And I guess not wooden like the ones would be more familiar with.
This is
heavier.
This is some. Yeah. I mean, if you're out there fishing for a tarpon, you might be fishing in 20 or 30 foot of water.
Right. You mentioned casting into the wind.
Right there.
Yeah, you need a little bit of weight.
Need a little bit of weight. And some of our lines are designed to sink.
Okay.
Right.
Our leaders are often fluorocarbon, which sinks. Yeah. So it's
So when you fishing I'm thinking only top water. So when you fishing something that sinks, how do you bring it back? Just pull harder. When you're casting back and forth, right?
Yeah. So it's.
Or are you throwing it out there once and leaving it?
To be it. No, we're not leaving you. You're making active cast.
Right.
And if I see a redfish coming, like for instance, if I'm at Ship Island, the water's crystal clear. I'm up on the land. I'm up on the shoreline. I can see a redfish maybe for 100 yards.
Right.
I see him come. I'm like, that's the guy. Right. That's the one I want.
Right.
That's mine.
I'm making a cast. I'm kind of feeling this. I'm saying, okay, I know he's going to come down the shoreline. I'm making a cast. I'm laying that fly. And as he gets closer, I'll adjust it up. And when he gets, within 15 feet or so, I'll just move it a slight, just like a crab. Crabs just don't take off.
Right.
They're crawling, and he's coming.
Yeah.
And he's taking it, and then it's on. Then it's on.
Good fight.
It's imagine catching a 30-pound black drum on a rod that's smaller than a toothpick at the end.
Right, like a cane pole, but with a reel on it. Yeah.
It's a serious thing. I've broken rods before by mishandling it on these fish, but it's just another way to enjoy the sport. I think it makes me a better angler. Mm-hmm. And when I talk to my guests, I can talk to them from a real conservationist level,
right,
all the way up to a competitive angler.
Okay. If somebody's either in the crowd on the live stream or whatever, they're hearing about this.
Yeah.
It's something they've never done. You did kind of mention before you do a charter, a little bit of experience would be probably better. Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll exchange a conversation. I'll find out where they're at, what they've done before. And if I'm real comfortable, we'll just go. If I'm not, I'll kind of give them some tips and some tricks. Right. And I'll say, this is where I need you to be positioned on the boat. If you're right-handed, I'm going to position the boat in a way to where you're not in the T-top when you're casting.
Right.
You know, all those things come into play. And that's with any.
Correct. Really. For sure. What about if they want to get into it, would joining the group that you mentioned be a good way to start?
Yeah. So we have a booth here. The boat show this is the second year we've had a booth. There's two clubs represented here today. The Gulf Coast Fly Fishers, which is basically a freshwater club, and then Hoss Flies here. We're right next to the Matrix booth and right dead center of at the boat show. We've got people there that can talk to you about all kind of. We got people from Australia. We've got people from Michigan. We've got a lot of people here that can share a lot of knowledge.
Good deal. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, joining is just easy. I mean, it's nothing.
Sweet.
Yearly? Is it like a yearly due?
Like a little membership?
Yeah. I think it's $40 for a family. Full-time students is free. Full-time military is free. We have
can't beat that.
Yeah, we give a scholarship away in conjunction with the research lab. We have a speckled trout tournament, goes on all year. We have a inshore slam tournament, goes on all year. We have a redfish tournament, goes on all year. We have a jack rodeo, goes on when the jacks come in. We have a triple tail a tournament that goes on, and we have a tagging tournament. We give awards at the end of the year.
Any level of competitiveness that you add to something that's already fun makes it that much more fun. So
exactly.
All right, we're going to open up to the crowd. Any questions you might have for Captain Bill? Anything? The question was, is it mostly on the surface when you throwing the flies?
Yeah, so not really. We do.
I thought it was.
Yeah. And you would think so. Yeah. You would think so. But a redfish, I'll just take a few species. A redfish and a sheep's head mostly feed on the bottom. They're picking up crabs and stuff. So you want to put that fly down there for them. When the big fish are running and just smashing the stuff on top of the water, big feather fly on top is great. Top water base is good. But basically, you put something out there and you go to jerking it, they're coming. Yeah. I mean, they're coming.
They're coming to get it.
I go back to like what I was thinking earlier, though. Again, like the freshwater style, you put it where you want it, pop it a few times, bring it back, put it back again. How do you do that when the fly is sunk? How do you get it back?
Just twitch it.
Well, you start pulling the line back, and then you draw the rod back. You take all the slack out. You draw the rod back to
pops out.
10 o'clock,
okay,
and then back forth 10 to 1.
Yep.
Stopping the traditional fly method.
Okay,
and
that makes sense.
I don't know. It's just a great way.
Yeah.
It's just a great way to be out there.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Anybody else? Question? Yes, sir. The question was, how did you get started tying flies?
Yeah, so I'm kind of a handy guy. I've been in the maintenance world my whole life, and I just love doing things with my hands. And it's just so cool to be able to take a piece of a deer hair, a hook, and some thread, and get a vise and start putting this stuff together. And then you start getting real technical with it. I mean, I've got a box of flies here that they're almost, you would think they were created in a factory.
They look like it.
But it's just
all uniform.
After about 4 years, you start getting, you feel things like thread tension, the type of material you want to use, what you want it to look like. I mean, I don't know what any of this stuff looks like, but to a redfish, it looks like supper.
Yeah.
And so
it works, huh?
Yeah. So we have people in our club. I think I started out with about 6 people that didn't know anything about fly tying. And we had a guy that had a lot of experience, and we would tie this type of fly. And then we would tie that type of fly. And then we would tie that type of fly. And then you say, okay, well, I can do one in the middle of that. I can do a different type. I can do a floater. I can do a heavy one. I can do a bigger one. it's just like any other hobby.
Yeah, you make it what you want. You can try whatever your mind comes up with.
We have a lot of experience. We have a lot of people that I guess you would call them mentors that, if you're willing to learn, they're willing to share information with you.
What about equipment wise, if you want to get into this side of the things? What does it take? Obviously, like
ice, fly ice.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to the bare essentials, you would have to have a fly tying vise.
Yeah.
Everything's
expensive.
Money, a lot of money.
Well, believe it or not, there's a lot of places online, even Amazon.
Sure, yeah.
You can just put in fly tying material, hooks, and I get most of my stuff online. We just don't have a lot of fly tying shops down here. And what would they have? I mean, they would have to have a lot of stuff. And so I order most all my stuff, and I look on books. And Fly Fishing FFI has all this learning chapters online. You can watch a guy tie a fly, and you say, I can do that. You can, iPads and computers now.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I'm sure there's thousands of videos on YouTube as well. Yeah.
I mean, I've even put videos out there. It's
Nice.
It's just like learning how to do anything else.
Right.
It's just a kind of a craft,
Yeah. Anybody else?
No, it's not. I guess the question is it all sight fishing? It depends on the water clarity. If you can actually see a fish, and if you go in our back bay, and even sometimes on the beach, you really can't see too much. So we're looking for, if I'm blind casting, I'm just doing like I'm doing conventional. I'm looking for points and pockets and structure and that sort of thing. If I'm out at the water at the islands and it's crystal clear, I'm still going to the points of the islands and the ditches and the drains and the cuts, and I'm looking for those fish. I'm looking for bait. That's a sight fishing thing, but no, it's not. A lot of it is blind casting.
We got a comment came in from Brandon. He said he's got boxes of your flies. He says it's his go-to, especially when he's looking for triple tail.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, Brandon, go ahead, Brandon. Yeah, I tie a lot of flies for triple tail. It's it's just the typical person catching triple tail is using live shrimp or live fiddler crab
Under a cork.
Yeah, under a cork. I've done it. I love doing it. But this is just a different way. It's just a different way.
Yeah.
And it's so non-obtrusive to the area you're in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can, believe it or not, with a fly rod, you can actually be more accurate than with a conventional rod once you get it. I mean, you're doing false castings. You're putting that fly. Okay, I'm looking over here. I'm putting that fly here, and then I'm moving my cast. I'm putting it right where I want it. And when I get it there, I'm dropping it. And so you can't always do that with a shrimp and a cork.
Yeah.
You get one cast, and there's a big splash in the water, and everything out there. They know you're there, and it's game's over.
Right.
And so it's a whole different way of fishing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's cool.
Definitely cool.
Yeah. Anybody else? All right, Captain Bill, can you tell us where to find you at?
Yeah. Real Outlaw Charters. I've got a slip in Gulfport, but I fish from state line to state line. You can look at me on Facebook, give me a card, see me afterwards, get a brochure. I'm in the Matrix Shad booth today, and I'm also in the fly fishing booth. So come see me.
Yep, I dropped the links to the Real Outlaw Charters Facebook page in the comments below on the live stream.
Nice.
Anybody wants to go back and watch this again, it's on the Brownwater Banter Facebook page, and I'm sure the Biloxi Boat Show page will share it out as well. We appreciate your time, and thanks everybody here.
Thanks for inviting me, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and this is one of three, so we'll have one at 3 o'clock and one at 5 o'clock, and y'all give it up for Captain Bill.
Yep, thanks.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.